What I actually said, James, is I hope I have to apologise again because I've got it very wrong.
Yes.
I'm not sure that apology will be coming. I lost my temper today. I said they were a something disgrace selling consumers down the river. And that was because I sat in a meeting getting a background briefing, which I shouldn't talk about normally, but these are unprecedented times.
Sure.
And just item after item of the changes that were being made were just absolutely kowtowing to the lobbying of the industry, and every mitigating factor I and other campaign groups, consumer campaign groups, had put in had been simply ignored. We're going to have the price cap moving every 3 months. It's called a statutory consultation now, by the way, so it's not a done deal, but a statutory consultation means that it's a tick box exercise. It's a done deal in reality. So we're going to have the price cap move every 3 months, which is what the industry wanted, so they don't have to be stuck on high prices, giving people artificially too cheap for too long. This is a price cap. If prices come down, of course, energy companies could bring their prices lower than the cap, but they won't do so. So this is a form of protecting the industry. I had pushed to try and mitigate that for it to be every 4 months. That had been rejected. The way it's structured means that even though the assessment period is meant to be every 3 months, for the first time they bring this in October, they will be looking back 6 months, which in the first 3 months of that 6 months includes the historic highs of wholesale prices, which is all it's based on, and that will be factored in to protect the industry. So I was starting to ramp up in the meeting, getting very frustrated that everything that seemed to have been pro-consumer was ignored. And then we get to the market stabilisation charge. Now, what the proposal for this charge was, that we vehemently objected to at the time, is if wholesale prices drop by more than 30%, if you were to switch to a new firm away from a price cap, so these aren't people who've agreed to lock in, these are absolutely everybody on the market, the new firm would have to pay the old supplier 75% of the hedging difference. Now, that was pretty bad. But then today they announced they're changing it. I thought, good. It's no longer it has to be 30% below. It now only has to be 10% below for this to kick into effect. It's no longer they have to give them 75% of the difference. They have to give them 85% of the difference, pretty much all of it. And this was to prevent consumers from the effects of harmful competition. By harmful competition, they mean cheaper prices. To prevent consumers suffering from the ill effects of having cheaper prices. What that announcement does is effectively curtail any hope that if wholesale prices drop, firms will be able to offer cheaper deals for consumers who are able to switch. I was absolutely flabbergasted to hear this in the meeting. Not only that they had ignored our pleas not to do it at all, but they had actually listened to the industry's pleas to make it much more strict. And this has an effect of entrenching the big monopoly suppliers who now dominate the market into their position, killing off any form of competition. Now, look, there's two ways to run an energy market. You either embrace competition or you nationalise or you regulate prices. I'm pretty agnostic as to which way we do it.
Right.
But if we're going to try and have a system as we do, which is based on competition, we've just had our regulator, who's charged with helping consumers and competition, effectively kibosh any hope of cheaper prices. What they haven't done is look at the standing charge that they've inflated. That means people who try and cut their bills by reducing usage only have a minimal effect. They haven't lowered the prepaid customers, the poorest in the country, their price cap to be the same as everyone else. They haven't lowered the charges for those who pay by monthly bills, which are the most expensive and include many elderly people, to be the same as direct debit. It is an absolutely flabbergasting. Now, I was wrong to swear at them in a meeting and to call them a disgrace, because that was unprofessional when talking with individuals. But institutionally, it is a disgrace. They are selling consumers down the river, and I call on the politicians of all parties, do not let the regulator do this. Your regulator, charged with protecting consumers, is instituting policies in the middle of a cost of living crisis where people may well die because they cannot afford to pay their bills, that effectively restrict competition and keep prices artificially high when it is unnecessary to do so. And that cannot be right. And that is the reason I lost my rag this morning. I have more reading to do, but that is my initial reading of the situation.